Hi, everybody, and welcome to our weekly tips for transforming lateral violence in your community. Today, we're going to be talking about the whole concept of withholding the need to point out where other people are doing lateral violence. Sometimes what can happen is when we first learn about this subject or we've been in a workshop, whether it's our workshop or somebody else's, we're excited about the new knowledge we have and we want to share it with other people, and we also have a tendency to want to point out when other people are doing it. And what we're recommending is that you avoid the any need to feel like doing that. So that really just perpetuates the cycle when we sort of point a finger and say you're doing lateral violence or that is lateral violence. It just perpetuates the cycle by creating more separation and impacting our ability to communicate with each other. Because when we point the finger at anybody, we're polarizing against them, and we're creating two oppositional positions, one being right and one being wrong. So in our workshop, what we do is we work with people to sort of get an understanding, first of all, defining lateral violence for yourself, an understanding of what behaviors are disturbing for you in particular, and then being able to respond differently to them as opposed to pointing out where it's happening or talking about other people who are doing it as if they're the problem and trying to figure out how to fix those people, because that's not going to transform lateral violence either. So first thing you want to do is think about how you would ideally respond to people or behaviors that are triggering for you. And in changing our own behavior in our relationships, other people change their behavior towards us. Lateral violence is something that can be very triggering, and if we get caught by the behaviors and we find ourselves responding in a trigger way, again, we're going to be perpetuating the cycle. So avoid pointing out where other people are doing it, and ask yourself, how do I want to respond when I see these behaviors showing up? Another recommendation that we have is that if you and another group of people in your organization or your community or family are interested in improving the health of your relationships and improving the communication, get together and talk about how you would ideally like things to be and how you would like to respond to lateral violence when it shows up. We want to separate the behavior from the people. We don't want to make people in our community wrong if they are displaying behaviors that we feel are inappropriate. The truth of the matter is that at one time or another, we all are in that position of having acted out in a way that might be harmful to ourselves and other people. And we can all understand what it's like to be in that position. So we want to avoid getting into the roles of sort of abuser or victim. And we want to be able to step outside of ourselves for a moment, outside of the situations that we face on a day-to-day basis, and have a really good conversation about what's our stance on lateral violence. What will our response to it be when it shows up? And how do we ensure that people feel cared for in our community, regardless of their behaviors? Because the one thing that we know for sure is that people are much more willing to change if they feel loved and accepted for who they are. As soon as we start to make it wrong, it actually, the symptoms and the behaviors exacerbate and escalate. So first thing, don't point out where other people are doing it. Avoid labeling groups or people or trying to fix other people. And three, think about how you'd like to respond to lateral violence. How would you change your behavior in response to it? And get together and talk with other people who care about the community, who want to create positive change, and talk about how you would transform lateral violence in a way that is inclusive and cares for everybody, regardless of behaviors, and separate behavior from people. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week, everyone. Bye.